Hi guys, Allison here with Amanda. Really excited to connect today on a podcast. We're hoping this platform is going to be a good place for us to kind of share our thoughts on everything from personal branding to career development to the tools that you need to take the next step in your career, like your resume, LinkedIn, etc. We are really proud of the company that we built, Elevated Resumes. I started in 2014. Amanda joined on pretty quickly, and we've been growing ever since. So we're just, again, excited to kind of share our feedback. And today, Amanda's going to lead us in a conversation all about kind of building not only your personal brand, but your fan base and your reputation.
Yeah, so I think where we wanted to start with this was how to actually build a personal brand when you don't currently have an audience, right? Because the hardest part is getting started and figuring out the next right steps. So, Allison, when you think of a brand, what comes to mind? What do you think of?
I think off the bat, a lot of people, when they think of a brand, they think of the big brands. They think of Starbucks, they think of Target, they think of the sports teams.
Mhm.
Personally, I'm in the space, so I think of a brand. I get more detailed into personal branding and everything, but um, yeah, I think you just automatically kind of go to those big brands that resonate visually in your head off the bat.
Yeah, and since everyone goes to those big global brands, the question is naturally, well, how does that apply to me? Or why do I need to create a brand for myself when I'm not trying to become a global brand,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So, why it's important is because the goal of your brand as a personal brand is not to gain global notoriety, right? But it's to get you in front of the right people that can open the door to your next job or your next opportunity. So you kind of have to scale it back and go for that goal
Hmm.
instead of going for the big brand where you want to grow a huge audience. You really just want to get in front of the right people that can open up the right doors for you.
Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why it's important. So that's why we wanted to talk about it because we know it's important, and then it's let's figure out how to actually do it and where to start. So now that we know why growing a brand is important, I wanted to touch on the difference between a fan and an audience.
Hmm.
So when you think about our fans, either as ourselves personally or as a company, what comes to mind? Who do you think of?
I think off the bat, something that I'm really proud of, and I know you're proud of too, is that we're just about 100% referral based. So clients
Yeah,
come to us. I've literally had them say, like, I'm your biggest fan. I told so and so about you. It helped me
yeah.
in my career. So I consider our past clients our fans. They appreciate what we do and they like to follow along. They like to keep in touch. And I think when you're a fan and you appreciate something, you share it with
Mhm.
others. So definitely our past clients and then our network around us. I know just with our mentors and our families, they're our biggest advocates and biggest supporters. So um, it's the people closest to you, but also the people that you impact in a positive way that become your fans.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we want to start with our fans. So for example, if you think of sports,
Mm.
right? And so this is kind of the best example of this to explain why having fans are so important. If you think of your favorite sports teams, so for my husband, it would be the Denver Broncos. So if you ask him any question about the Broncos, right, he's probably going to know the answer. He follows them so closely. He knows every move that they're making. He knows why they're making the plays that they're making, and he really cares about their success, right? So when they lose, he has a bad day. When they win, he has a great day. So he's invested. I, on the other hand, am in the audience, right? And so I watch them. I It makes me happy when they win, but I'm not as invested as he is. But the only reason I'm in their audience is because my husband is a fan. So if you start with your fan base and your loyal followers, they're going to expand out and kind of grow your network for you. So
Mm.
you're not having to do all the legwork.
They're like
So
your natural advocates.
exactly. Exactly. And so that's where you want to start. So if you try to start thinking about how to reach out to strangers, how to grow your audience, sometimes that can feel too overwhelming. So how we want to start is to think about how to best serve the people that are already in your circle and your fans. All right.
So kind of start from closest to you and kind of work your way out.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll help you work your way out too.
And I think it becomes sometimes
Um,
that might seem intimidating. People hear the word networking and going out there and making these connections intimidating. But if you start with kind of your core group and you're providing authentic content, it's going to be naturally just shared amongst, again, those core fans and then to their audience.
exactly. Yep. Yeah. So what about in a corporate setting? Who would be your fans if you're in a corporate setting right now?
So I guess it kind of depends. It depends where you kind of fall. So are you the boss? So if you're the boss of your team, you're the manager of your team, the main
Mm-hmm.
people you manage are your fans. Do they look up to you? Do they speak highly about you in the office? Do you have a good reputation with them? Are
Yeah.
you known as the boss that everyone wants to work for and everyone goes to because you provide great insight, but you not only nurture your team, but you help them grow, you challenge them in the right ways. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so the people below you could be your fans, but some people listening might say, I don't manage anyone. I'm kind of just getting started or I'm in a new space.
Or they want to be managing someone. Maybe that's the goal.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. But if I wouldn't say that you still have fans, it can kind of work in the reverse. You could be that new guy in the office that brings just a positive energy to every meeting, and those people, even within your space, even if they're your superiors, they can be your fans. So they're, again, advocates and supporters of you, and your personality, your work ethic. So it's like really like, what are you known for, and what are the people around you say about you?
Yeah. And the biggest key is what is the value that you bring to those people, right? So one of the biggest person that you want to turn into your fan is usually your boss. So whoever that is, you want to try to figure out how to make them your biggest fan because they're usually the ones who have the ability to open up the right doors for you. So in order to turn them into your fan, you need to think about how you're serving them, what value you're bringing. And like you said, what are you known for around the office? But you need to think about what they need from you. So if you hear them complaining about something or they can't figure something out or if they need more time on something, that's where you want to step in and be that person that brings them solutions. So it really takes active listening and making sure that you're identifying who you need to turn into a fan and then figuring out how to do that by giving them solutions that will help them and make their lives easier.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you say it like that because a story kind of resonates in my mind so much. When I was younger, I'm one of 4 girls, and my dad started a construction company when we were in high school, and that was our summer job. We worked like on site, and he used to always tell me to make my job easier, anticipate what I need before I even have to ask you for it. So it could be as simple as something like move that ladder out of the way because we have to get there. So if you can look at it like that, can you anticipate how to kind of streamline the process in whatever industry that you're in? Because people will take note of that. You're going to add value. And again, if it's your boss and you're making your boss's job easier, that makes your boss look better. And they're going to be a big supporter of you because you're not only doing your job, you're going above and beyond to help them with just, again, look better even in their position.
Right. And you also have to think about it. If you have people that you're managing and you also have a boss, right, the people that you're managing are actively watching how you engage with your boss. So they are going to kind of follow suit. So if you're asking your boss questions to make their lives easier, they're going to realize that's probably what I should be doing for you as well. So you kind of want to lead by example. So then your team knows how you'd like them to approach you and deliver solutions to you as well. So your boss, your team, whether that's a team that you're managing or a team that you're a part of, even if you're just a part of a team, even if it's project-based, you want to figure out how to bring value to those people. You might be able to open a door for someone else, and then they'll want to do the same for you later on. So there's, it sounds easy, but in practice, people aren't doing this very often. So you can simply ask 3 questions to the people that are around you, which are, how are you? What are you working on? And how can I help?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it sounds simple, but not a lot of people hear those 3 questions asked in a row specifically, you know? So imagine if you just walked up to someone that seems like they have a lot on their plate and you ask them how they're doing, what they're working on, and how you can help. It would be a big relief, and then you would be known as that person who offers support to people who need it.
Mm-hmm.
So your team, your boss, and then another one, like for us specifically, it's our clients. But even if you're in a corporate setting, the clients of that company, if you're in communication with them, you never know what connection they might have or how they might be able to help you in the future. So you always want to take that into consideration. You want them to become fans of the company that you're working for, but you also want them to turn them into your fans as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're working for you. So if you're working with an agency and you've hired them, treat them with respect because they're going to see that. And also they're going to work harder for you. They might put in those extra hours over the weekend if they know that you've kind of helped them out before. It kind of goes back to the basics of like treating others the way you want to be treated. So kind of like what you said, it sounds so simple, but ask yourself, like, when's the last time you truly kind of felt or followed through on those 3 things and asked a coworker how they're doing, what they're working on, and how you can help.
Right. Yeah. And so we're kind of framing this from, it's what you should do, right? It's just being nice, being courteous. But then there's also this other aspect where it can be a little bit selfish too, right? Because you're making those connections. And so you're serving the people that are around you. They're going to want to reciprocate that and do that for you in the future as well.
Absolutely. It goes back to, I'm sure, another podcast. We're going to dive deeper into Adam Grant's book, Give and Take. But who are you known as in the office? Are you known as a taker, a giver, a matcher? There's pluses and minuses to both, which we can dive in at a later point. But what are you known for within the office? So I think that's a great point.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we've kind of identified who your immediate audience is and who you're trying to turn into your fans, the next step might be counterintuitive, but it's really to stop talking and to start listening, right? So listen to the conversations that they're having, find those pain points, see how you can deliver value, because then, you're actually identifying how you can help instead of just trying to create resources or help people when they don't actually need it. That's how you can start spinning your wheels and wasting time. So if you really listen to the people around you and you try to figure out what problems that they're having, you can create targeted solutions for them so you can serve them even better.
Absolutely, especially with all the technology and the software that's out there. Maybe there's something within your company that is dated and there's something out there that can just make everyone's job a little bit easier. Be that person that prepares, so you're not just pitching these new ideas and throwing them out there, but comes prepared with an idea on just improving, streamlining, making everyone's job easier. Because imagine if there is a pain point across your company and you can find a software out there that helps it, you're not only adding value to each individual, you're adding value to the company. You're going to save the company money because you're saving time across each employee across the company.
Yeah, exactly. And that is what's going to be remembered, are the improvements you were able to make, right? Because it makes someone's life better.
And you can add that to your resume too. We'll help you out there.
Exactly. And so you want to make sure you're making notes of these things. So if you hear someone complaining about something, like you said, maybe a software problem, make note of that. So then you can always go back to that running list of things that people are finding challenging, and then the things that you're hearing over and over again. Those are the things you want to spend your time on to create solutions.
It's kind of what we're doing here. I know we've been working together for 5 years, and we have done literally thousands of resumes and worked with thousands of clients to help them with their career. And this is kind of a space for us. We've been listening and we've been kind of consolidating what is everyone's needs. And I hope that this is kind of the space where we can kind of answer those questions in a broader way. So it's great that we're acting on things that we're sharing. And I agree with just listening, taking it in, and then providing your feedback.
Yeah, exactly. And when we sat down to create that list of podcast ideas, We had so many right off the bat because we were listening to our clients.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, clients always ask me this and they always ask me this. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where this specific topic came from, was clients are asking, well, why do I need a personal brand and how do I start building it? So that's naturally where we wanted to start. And so, another thing to remember is that if people internally are having these issues, they're probably having them externally as well. So you can help a wider audience once you start with the people closest to you, start solving their problems, and then they might be able to help other people solve it with the same solution. So that's how you're really starting to expand your audiences, by serving the people closest to you, and then they'll start passing that information along.
Absolutely. And we live in a digital world, so it's easy to kind of get your thoughts, get your ideas out there across the different platforms. So again, it may seem a little daunting, like how could I create this fan base and then create a larger audience, but you have access to so many people.
Well, think about that. How many people's lives you could actually affect in a day, right? If you were to create solutions or help them do something.
Yeah. You could really disrupt, in a positive way, disrupt something that, again, do you create something? Do you have an idea on just improving pain points in people's lives?
Yeah, that mindset shift right there is important. And so once you start by listening to the people that are closest to you and creating solutions for them, and start making their lives easier, then that's your time to ask them to share that information. And to start helping you grow your audience. And they won't even look at it as helping you do something. They're just going to see it as adding value to their fan base and their audience by sharing what you have to offer. And the best place to do that is LinkedIn. So if you don't already have a LinkedIn profile, that is where you need to start. It really is the place for everything professional. And that's really where you can turn your fans into an audience. It's kind of the path of least resistance, right? Because people are going to that platform to look for solutions in their industry, to make connections in their industry, to find people that can help them with their problems. And so once you start making those connections personally and you transfer them over to LinkedIn, that's how you can really grow your audience.
It's also kind of performs like double duty. LinkedIn is a website. It's working off of algorithms. It's rewarding people who are engaging with their network or on their platform. It's rewarding people that are uploading multimedia. So yes, it might be scary to get in front of the camera. You can ask us about it. But if you do and you're uploading this to your LinkedIn profile, you're not only showing that you have this a level of confidence in your specific space, but LinkedIn is going to see that you're active and uploading multimedia. And again, LinkedIn is rewarding that with back-end algorithms. So it's saying this person's profile is built up, I'm more likely going to show this person in search results. So not only are you, it's like a double duty. So if it makes you feel better about kind of growing your audience, know that you're going to benefit from it because your LinkedIn profile will be stronger. Right.
So it helps in that front too. And one thing about LinkedIn, the best way to get engagement is to start sharing your opinions. So provide solutions, but also share your opinions, because that's how you can find the people who are kind of in alignment with your approach. And so when you find those people, they're going to be more willing to share what you have to say because they're agreeing with your opinions. But also it's just a way to get people to see other perspectives. LinkedIn isn't necessarily a place for competition. It's really for people to just share their opinions, share the solutions that have worked for them in order to help other people. So if you go into it looking to help other people and grow your audience that way, you're going to be way more successful than if you're just trying to convert clients or if you're just trying to beat out the competition.
Absolutely. And I think people see through that nowadays. They see through kind of how you're positioning. So I agree. Don't see it as like this is a place where I'm going to be better than you type thing. Like see it as a place where you are representing your brand. So that's a big thing with social media. How are you representing your brand? This is your LinkedIn profile. So even if you have a steady job right now, you're not job hunting. If you are job hunting in 4 years, your LinkedIn profile and your activity is still going to be there. So make sure you're being professional and authentic and respectful.
Yeah. And that's another point that I wanted to make, was that this is a really long-term strategy, right? So if you're going into it saying, okay, I want to build an audience so that I can get a new job in a week, that it's not going to work for you, right? Because you're not going to be able to do all of that in a week. Mm-hmm. It's a long-term strategy where you're building connections, you're building actual relationships that you're going to be able to take with you throughout your career. And so you want to make sure that you're not in it for the short game, right? Mm-hmm. So you're sharing content, you're making actual connections, you're staying in touch with your connections, you're helping them, you're making connections for them. And so that way, like you said, in 4 or 5 years from now, when someone goes to your LinkedIn profile, you have all this information that they can access. They see that you've been making meaningful connections. They see that you have been helping other people. You've been engaged with your network, and they're going to be more likely to want to be in that community with you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because if you're giving so much of yourself to a platform like LinkedIn, mm-hmm. imagine how much you're going to give as a leader within a company. So they know if they can invest this much time in their LinkedIn profile, if I bring them onto my team, like the value that this individual will bring.
It's like the demonstration, right? And we say that with resumes all the time. If you're going to have a skill on your resume, you want to make sure that it's demonstrated throughout your content, mm-hmm. that they can find where you've integrated the skill or where you learned the skill, where you used it to be successful. Mm-hmm. Same with LinkedIn. If you're saying, I'm someone who adds value to a corporation, I'm someone who loves to coach and mentor, and I'm someone that has a great network. Well, if they go to your LinkedIn profile and you don't have a great network and you're not very engaged and you're not adding value, they're going to say, well, that doesn't really align with what this person is saying. Mm-hmm. So you want to demonstrate your value on LinkedIn, on your resume, pretty much throughout all of your branding materials.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, there's other places where you can share content too. So it doesn't just have to be on LinkedIn, although if this is to expand your professional career, LinkedIn is the best place probably, but you can also share videos on YouTube. Obviously there's podcasts, all kinds of things you can do. But for that engagement piece, LinkedIn is probably the best place.
Absolutely. And I mean, across your social platforms, there's, depending on your industry, mm-hmm. obviously like Instagram, Facebook are out and about there, but just be mindful of kind of where your space is, where you should be kind of investing your time. I think it does make sense that LinkedIn would be the most natural go-to platform. Mm-hmm. But who knows, maybe you have an audience somewhere else and you can kind of run with that. So again, kind of talk with your immediate fans, listen to what they're saying. Mm-hmm. How can you kind of address those questions, help out, and then where do you share that information? So yeah, I think if you work through that, you'll be able to, again, just increase your fan base and help your own personal career along the way.
Yeah. Most of our clients are on LinkedIn, right? So a lot of this content is going to go on LinkedIn so it can reach them and help them. Mm-hmm. So as long as you know where your audience is, where your fans are, that's where you want to be.
Awesome. Well, speaking of fans, we hope as we continue kind of to grow this podcast, that we are sharing value, we are answering your questions. So if there's certain topics that you want us to discuss, we're happy to add that to our list. Amanda's not only a certified resume writer, she's a certified career coach, just an awesome resource for all things career strategy and development. Me personally, my background is in graphic design, personal branding, everything aesthetic, improving recall and retention, across your different platforms. So if it's something that you have questions on how to visually brand yourself, let us know. I'm sure we're going to have a podcast about that down the road. But if there's specific questions, just let us know.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Amanda. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.